from Kingdom Hearts is finally in Smash Bros. And this is the second and final time that I'll have a chance to go back to a moveset that I've made and compare it to the real deal when the character actually got into Smash, the first being Steve. So just like my original moveset video, I've brought my friend Michael here back on once again, since he was kind of the main one who helped me put the moveset together and was generally my guide through the world of Kingdom Hearts. I wanted to have him back on to kind of talk about how Sora made the transition and what he thinks about him. So how you doing, Michael?
I'm doing just absolutely gosh darn amazing. How are you?
I'm good. So how are you feeling with Sora in the game?
I cried like a bunch. I was at work watching it and I wasn't working. I was just sitting there, watching the reveal in anticipation. At first you see there wasn't like a lot going on that was like hinting at Sora. But then when you see the little thing spinning through the air, I was kind of like, it looks a lot like a familiar animation. And then you see I saw the Keyblade outline before you see the Mickey Mouse charm. But when you see that Mickey Mouse charm, it's just like, It's like, wow, how much did that cost? But also, wow, so many tears.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting that you caught it even a little bit before the Mickey Mouse, just because of the way that it was spinning. That is just very interesting to me.
I have a really weird brain with that. Like, I notice those like small minutia things sometimes better than I notice something right in front of me. Like, that's just the way my brain works. So like, it was just an oddly familiar animation from the way that we've seen Keyblades work in game. So
right. Yeah. Okay. So just like the Steve video I did, I basically just want to go through with a side-by-side of our ideas versus the real Smash ideas. And overall, looking at the comparison, we did pretty good. The only thing that we were really off with was the smash attacks. We didn't get super right. And then the aerials, but that was mostly just because we didn't think of like the multi-move kind of strung together aerials that he has, just because there aren't many characters like that.
But I will say, having gone back and listening to it, that is something that we talked about. I mean, I'm pretty sure I specifically said that like it feels as though like 90% of Kingdom Hearts 3 in particular, its battling is in the air. So that is something we talked about, that he would be floaty. I definitely don't agree. I definitely agree that I don't think we ever thought he'd be able to, have literally made combos for the air, but that is definitely the type of fighter that we thought he was.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, and that can get us right into our just like the general animation, the overall feel of the character. Like you said, we very much said that he would be bouncy, that he would have really like slow kind of floaty turns, and that so much of his combat would be built in the air. And that, like, watching the presentation, I was like, yep, they nailed it. That's exactly what it is.
You can tell that Sakurai really wasn't bullcrapping us when he was talking about the fact that, he is a fan of Kingdom Hearts, that he's played these games, because, obviously, yeah, Sora translates to sky. That was kind of funny to hear him talk about, like, it's his domain now. But, like, absolutely, like, that is exactly how he felt. Obviously, the moveset as a whole is based more on Kingdom Hearts 1 than anything, which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about. But, like, it really reminded me of playing Kingdom Hearts 3 in the way that he will just spend half of a battle in the air. And it's incredible. They absolutely 100% nailed the feel and, like, the heart of the character.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah. And so, and then in that animation angle, the only thing that I have here that we got wrong, we got the battle stance right. I mean, he looks exactly like we thought he would. But we said he kind of like stands up a little straighter, goes to like his kind of normal idle stance. Maybe not losing the Keyblade all the way, but just stands kind of with it down. But he is kind of always ready to go in this.
Yeah, he doesn't have an idle stance, really.
Yeah.
Not like we've seen, I feel like, with some other characters where they kind of change their animation.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's, totally fine. It doesn't...
Yeah.
And then, yeah, the aerial angle was more so done... A lot of our moves were, like, moves that would bring him and somebody else up. Like, we'll get to it, but, like, the up smash would kind of give him more of a vertical lift, whereas... The moves kind of do that, but it's more so about, I think, kind of keeping enemies in the air.
I think we just reversed it, more or less.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Other than that, stats-wise, we weren't, like, he is a little bit more extreme than I think we were thinking of him. We had said he's mid-weight, He's pretty fat. He was around Cloud speed, you said. And then the floaty, which he kind of is, but he does fall fairly fast. But Sora in Smash is pretty light and not super fast. Like, looking at statistically, he is way slower than Cloud.
Yeah, so honestly, that again, this is going to be a theme throughout the entire moveset, is Sakurai based this heavily on Kingdom Hearts 1. We based ours very heavily on Kingdom Hearts 3, which I love that they did it mainly on Kingdom Hearts 1, but that is the reason that we got things like that wrong. Because in Kingdom Hearts 1, like, obviously, yeah, there's a lot of aerial combat. There are definitely ways to string together stuff in the air and stay in there forever, but he's much just heftier, sort of. Like, he's not fast. He's slow as crap. The attacking in Kingdom Hearts 1, the combat, is very, very slow and very, like, slow paced comparatively to Kingdom Hearts 3. So they definitely gave him the floatiness and all that kind of stuff, and the fact that he's very light, which is very to be expected. But the overall feel of playing him is much more similar to Kingdom Hearts 1 than Kingdom Hearts 3, which was, I think, the big difference in why we got that wrong, so to say.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because it does seem kind of like it varies from where he pulls from. Sometimes he pulls from the latest incarnation, like he updated Link with that a little bit. But then sometimes he definitely goes for, like, the original feel of the character. Some of the lesser stuff that comes along with Sora, taunts, we were completely 100% wrong. We got no taunts correct. So obviously in Smash, 3 of the magics are put as taunts. He spins his Keyblade, and then he gives a little bit like of a jumping cheer. Whereas we had, like, the summon, doing a smile, putting its hands behind his head, stuff like that. I mean, the magic especially is obviously extremely, I think, relevant to him. How do you feel about, like, the other 2 taunts in terms of his characterization?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the magic is awesome. I love that they kind of found a way that all of the original KH1 magic spells are in there. The Keyblade spin is cool. Obviously, they featured it in the reveal trailer, and he's done it throughout, like, the history of the franchise. Like, sometimes he'll spin it. I think in Kingdom Hearts 1, he did it a decent amount of time. He would spin it before he went to go lock a keyhole. The jump cheer is interesting. Like, overall, the Keyblade spin and the jump cheer just feel very generic to me. Which, like, yeah, I mean, obviously we're nitpicking. It kind of sucks. Like, I would have loved to see something that is and obviously this is, again, Sakurai did an incredible job of referencing everything from this game. But, like, I would have preferred to see something more like the hands behind head lean, because that's just something he does throughout the series all the time, and the goofy smile or whatever. Like, that's just very common. Like, it's something you see him do a lot, and I think these are just very generic that I'm sure he's done at some point, but I can't picture it in my head the way that I could the other taunts. In
terms of other more aesthetic type of embellishments, his victory screens, we were nearly 3 for 3, but we did get one wrong. We said he spins the Keyblade, puts it on his shoulder. That is almost like exactly as we said it would be. Points it to the sky again, just completely correct. And then the only one that we didn't get, but it is in the game, is that he uses the Keyblade to close a keyhole, which is instead used in the final Smash. And the other one is that he kind of just turns away and has it on his shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with any of that. The fact that we were 2 for 3, just, again, Sakurai did a great job of referencing very specific, like picturable things from the franchise, and I think he did a great job with that again. So yeah.
And then moving to another thing that we also got correct is that for his shield and his dodge, I did double check this, but he does kind of use the stance that he uses for guard, which is what we said he could use in shield. And then his dodge roll does fairly look like the dodge roll in the game.
Yeah, I mean, that made a lot of sense. They're fairly straightforward animations to begin with, so it would have been odd if they didn't use them.
Yeah. We said he had 2 really high jumps, which he does. He's a very vertical character, especially on the second jump.
Very high.
And then
that second jump is ridiculous.
Yeah, and then we said he had a glide. He doesn't have a glide. I feel like that happens for a lot of Smash characters. They're like fair. They definitely pick and choose and deliberate a lot when it comes to characters who actually have some kind of glide, or like the way that they transfer in the air, because it's like realistically, Kirby has infinite jumps in his game, so they just gave him more than the usual jumps. And Sora has a glide, but I guess they figured that with like the way
if he had a glide, he'd somehow be more broken.
Yeah, like with the way the aerials inside B and all work, it would just be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Getting into the actual moveset, I'm gonna knock out a couple all at the same time. Because the one that we got correct, and I'm sure literally anyone who's played Kingdom Hearts had guessed this, is that the jab would be the normal 3-hit combo. He does an overhead, he does a stab, and then he does kind of a roundhouse swing. And that is exactly how it is. But the thing that we didn't really expect is that that kind of 3-hit combo would also be used for the neutral air, the F tilt, and the forward air. And they are all slightly different variations. Are they like from different Kingdom Hearts, or are they like from the same Kingdom Hearts with just different ways you do the attack, or how, like, what exactly did he pull from for those?
So the air combo is 100% just like straight out of Kingdom Hearts. Like I'm pretty sure it's straight out of the first one, if not all three of them. Just the simple 3-hit, because his combos function exactly the same on the ground and in the air in Kingdom Hearts 1, where it's just like, a short 3-hit combo for the most part, before it breaks into like finishing moves. The one that's a little odd that I can't really, I'm sure it's pulled from animations, generally speaking, from the franchise, is the forward tilt combo. But I will say, and you didn't give us credit for this, and I'm going to give it credit, give us credit, is so we had Slapshot as up tilt, and Slapshot, Sakurai didn't say it, but Slapshot is forward tilt. The animation for Slapshot is 100% where the forward tilt and the first hit of that 3-hit combo is coming from. And especially like also like the way that it is used in the game, like it has a very, like it does like really throw people forward. Like it is a bit of a kill move. Like it has a really good knockback to it. So
he had established that the forward, like F tilt and fair, both are stronger kind of variants of the 3-hit combo.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I definitely think that the forward tilt combo is derived, at least the beginning of it, from Slapshot, which we originally had as up tilt, but
right. Well. And then what the actual up tilt is this kind of keyblade spin, which the main thing that I could like saw people comparing this to was like kind of like Reflect, like, or like how Reflect is seen in the games, using spinning the keyblade to knock stuff away. But do you like what do you think about this? Do you feel that it was a decent choice, or do you think more of like a upward swing would have been more fitting?
I mean, I'm fine with it. Like, I don't have an issue. I think it's a cool animation. Like, it does make sense. I think the thing it's closest to is probably Reflect in, like, Kingdom Hearts 2 in particular, when I believe he's fighting Xemnas at the end. Like,
I think that's where it's from, yeah.
Yeah, because you're reflecting a crap ton of projectiles all at once. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have an issue with it. Like, I think we even kind of talked about, like, the fact that the tilts are probably just going to be very, for the most part, kind of generic hits in general. I mean, I like it. I think it's a really cool animation. I think it's a very good move as well, in the way that you can use it to combo. So I don't have any issues with it.
And then another kind of thing that we got partially correct, but in the wrong place, there was a good bit of that between our moves and the real thing, which is overall a win, is that we had said that down tilt would be slide dash in a very similar vein to how Cloud and a lot of other characters work, where their down tilt actually moves them. But the slide dash was instead moved to dash attack, which we had just said was kind of like a running stab, which I think that makes sense well enough. And then the actual down tilt is like a little low sweep, which generally I think kind of works the way we were saying up tilt would work, where it helps you start to get the aerial stuff going.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, it's fantastic for that. I mean, the direction that it hits, that it sends people is just bizarre in the way that it allows you to combo. But yeah, I love that slide dash is in there. It's just it's a very, like, it's a staple of, I think, his combat in Kingdom Hearts. So yeah, I love that it's there, even if it's under dash instead of down tilt. Like, I don't have an issue with either of them. I think it actually, assuming you can make down tilt this, like, I think it's probably better on dash. So.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. It is hilarious that he forgot to talk about it in the presentation, though.
It is, yeah.
After the entire internet is like blowing up, he's like, I forgot the dash attack. And then it's kind of similar to a lot of the tilts, where he said it might be a little bit more generic hits. Grabs is usually a place in movesets that can feel fairly generic, and for the most part, that is what it is. We said that he would grab you and hit you with the hilt of the Keyblade. That is correct. He, I think, uses the Keyblade a little like with heftier swings than we said he would. The only thing that I think was like a direct reference that we didn't get, and you said, even I think you said while watching the presentation, you were like, he only really does that like once, is for a back throw, where he does like a full kind of Mario spin throw, and we just said he would kind of like throw you behind and slash you. But you said that's like pretty minor in Kingdom Hearts on the whole.
Yeah, like I don't think it's even a part of like regular combat. Him grabbing people isn't really a part of regular combat in Kingdom Hearts, which is why we kind of said it was going to be very generic. I think actually after kind of going back and looking at things, like if anything, those animations look a lot more like when you grab your teammates and throw them at people. Like if I grab Goofy and I use him as a projectile, that's what those animations to me look the most like. I can't say it's a reference to it, but like that's the closest thing, because that's the most grabbing that really happens. That and like random reaction commands that like, all right, whatever. It's a reaction command that's in one boss fight in the entire franchise. So
that's fair. Yeah, all the grabs are pretty generic. We got the pummel right. Up throw is close enough. It's just kind of like a generic throw upwards. So nothing too special there. Aerials we kind of touched on already. The main move that we named for one of them was Aerial Slam, which I think is maybe the finisher, kind of the finisher fair, looking at it now. It's just a big slam down with the Keyblade in the air.
Yeah, it's the same general idea for the most part. Yeah, I mean, all of the air combat is derived from somewhere in Kingdom Hearts, I'm sure. Because like I said, in Kingdom Hearts 3, you can fight in the air for like an hour.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of hits to come from. But the initial one, the Nair, is definitely like the standard one. And I think the fair is very similar to the forward tilt, where it's definitely derived from different hits here or there. So.
And then the only thing we like upward slash, we said the whole kind of idea that we went with some moves that bring you up a little bit more. The only difference is that the up air doesn't do that, and then back air being a standard generic slash was also accurate, because again it's anything that like wasn't feeding into the 3-hit combo is a little more generic, it feels like, which I mean is fine. The smash attacks, F smash you said was Blitz, which funny enough was one of the things that was pulled from Kingdom Hearts 1. Looking at now, the things that we pulled from Kingdom Hearts 1 aren't in the game. Which is funny enough. But yeah, so that's Blitz. F smash doesn't seem to be actually pulled from anything. It's just a big swing, which is,
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, he's really putting his back into that one. So.
Yeah. And then up smash was another one of those moves we said would bring you up a little bit. Instead, it's just a straight step up, which I was seeing some people said that some combos kind of get ended with that, which is like a big Keyblade in the air kind of stab. How do you feel about the just Keyblade straight up?
Yes, so that's one of the few things that is like directly out of Kingdom Hearts 3. I think it's called Magic Flash, and it is a combo ender in Kingdom Hearts 3. It's a ground combo ender, I'm pretty sure, and the animation is just like pulled straight from it. So kind of surprising. Like it's not something that stuck out to me when I played Kingdom Hearts 3, that I was like, oh, it's a really cool thing. But I think it fits his moveset well here, so it's cool. To see it in the moveset. And I think generally speaking, like, we got the right idea correct with these smashes, is that they are finisher type moves. So we just, picked the wrong one. So
yeah, definitely. Down smash, we had explosion combo, which was kind of the only thing that I think even then, there's certain times with movesets where it's like, I don't have anywhere else to put this move and I want to represent it. So I guess I'll make it a smash attack, because our specials were already like so like specifically chosen. But I was like, I don't know if this is what they would actually go with, and it is just like a jump stab, which also seems to be a combo ender.
Yeah, that's from I believe it's like finishing leap, I think is what it's called. I'm looking at it right now. The ending of a combo in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Okay.
Although I will say it does accomplish a very similar idea of just being all-encompassing around him, which is more or less like what the point of the explosion thing was. But I think using the Keyblade specifically probably fits the Sora that we got a lot better than Explosion would.
That's fair, and it's kind of like you can dodge stuff with it as well, which is interesting.
Oh yeah, it's insane actually.
Which does, I think it helps him feel kind of aerial focused without actually like putting him up off of the stage. It just made like,
yeah,
if you want to fight Sora, you're gonna have to like fight him up higher.
Yeah, exactly.
So this next one is probably the most surprising, because it seemed like when we made the moveset and when I was looking at other people, it seemed like the move that was going to be the neutral special, which was Strike Raid from Kingdom Hearts 1, which is even weirder because it's from Kingdom Hearts 1 and this moveset is so heavily pulled from that. And instead, this is where they put Magic, which was our down B.
So I think the big thing here is there's a couple things that kind of went into, at least in my mindset, like the reasoning that this happened is, one, the Magic was pulled from Kingdom Hearts 1 and not Kingdom Hearts 3, which means there's just slightly less of them and there's different ones, because there's no Waterza. Waterza is really the big one. Stopaga is kind of the one that, or yeah,
Stopga, I think,
yeah, is the one that's like quote unquote in there for Waterza. Because of the Kingdom Hearts 1 versus Kingdom Hearts 3 disparity. But I think what it really came down to is Sora has always had a counter. He's always had a counter in all of the games. So if you want to put that into the moveset, which it made a lot of sense, we didn't do it, I think, more so just to be like, we don't need to put a counter in there.
Yeah, a little more unique. Even during the presentation, it's like, he has a counter.
Yeah, I like, it makes total sense. He's always had one. It's a very, very big part of his moveset in the games. Like, that's how people get through, like 1 HP or 0 EXP runs of the game, or level 1 runs, not 1 HP. Mm-hmm. But if you put that in there, then it's on down B, of course, which I think has to leave Magic there. And I love the way they did Magic. Like, I think I even said, I don't know if I said it in the video or just while we were talking, but when you think of Magic in Kingdom Hearts, there's always 3 that you think of, probably 4. It's Fire, Blizzard, Thunder, and Cure. Mm-hmm. Cure, obviously, it makes total sense that it's in the taunt and not in the move because of the, the healing aspect of it. But like, those are the big 3. It's Fire, Blizzard, and Thunder. They're so easily put into the game that it makes total sense that those are the only 3 that are there. And I kind of like the differentiating of him and Hero in the way that their magic is used. It's interesting because it doesn't, I think Hero is very much completely focused around magic, whereas Sora, it just feels like it's a part of his arsenal. He doesn't feel to me like a magic character so much as just a guy with projectiles. Just different projectiles. And I think when you look at it that way, it makes more sense that it is the standard B and that it's, used instead of what we had, which was Strike Raid, which is really just the throwing of the Keyblade over and over in that spiraling fashion. I think obviously either would have been fine, but the way that it turned out and the type of character he is, I think this makes more sense than giving him a plethora of magic attacks in the same realm as Hero, because that's not what his focus is or should be, really.
I do think it is interesting because you were saying the magic feels like more of his arsenal and more of kind of just like a part of his moveset as a whole compared to Hero, which is like its own entire separate thing. We kind of had that thought too, of like we wanted to make it a simpler Hero. Like we didn't want to have like the randomness of the menu, but because of that, the moves would be a little bit weaker. And that is more or less what happened. It just is like even simpler than we thought it would be, with just the way that it cycles, which is a very interesting way to do that for sure.
And I will say, Sakurai, he nailed the use of all of them. Like the Faraga is definitely, like a repeatable, spammable thing. Like that's exactly how I use it in Kingdom Hearts. Thunder is more of a range attack that kind of covers your bases, and Blizzard is a shotgun. Like that, he nailed the use of them. And I think if you are only limiting it to the 3, it's fine to have them cycle, because it's pretty easy to just get past one and get to other ones if that's what you want to do. But yeah, I think given the direction they went, it makes a lot of sense. And I think it still accomplishes the same thing that we more or less had Strike Raid accomplishing, which is a win in my book.
I think so. And then the one that we did get completely correct, another one that pretty much everyone agreed on, was Sonic Blade.
Yep.
And that I think we had said that it only would have a back and a forth if you tapped it in the opposite direction after you hit somebody, whereas this one is you can do it up to 3 times. You can just directly target somebody, and this is like really where the air stuff comes in. It's like the aerial attacks keep you in the air, but the side B is like how Sora's flying everywhere across the map.
Yeah. It's a little different than how I think it's typically used in Kingdom Hearts, because in Kingdom Hearts it's very like, it's less of like an aerial lock-on and more of like a sweeping motion, sort of is how it's typically portrayed. So, I mean, I don't have an issue with it. I think, again, it makes total sense in the scheme of who he is as a character. And it's not broken either. Like, I think a lot of people were screaming Bayonetta. It's not that. It's, it can be punished. It can be punished pretty easily.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we got it. Makes sense.
Yeah. And then the final aerial was the up B that we kind of got correct. We just said it was a different move. We had said that aerial sweep, which is what it actually turned out to be. Did we say that was something else? Maybe we didn't, but
I don't believe so, no.
I think at least in visual, we kind of equated it to Rising Spiral, which is what we said the up smash would be.
Yes.
And then we had said that up B was aerial finisher, which is a spin move, but more kind of vertically, like spinning around him, like front to back instead of the standard kind of Link spin. Either way, we said it was a spinning up B that would bring you up, and that is what it is.
Yeah.
And then the final smash, you were fairly right on like the feel of it, of just generally having the keyhole there to some extent. And that is the entirety of what they did pull from, is just stealing the keyhole. Instead, you had focused on the Power of Awakening, which is specifically a Kingdom Hearts 3 thing.
Without getting too complicated, not specifically Kingdom Hearts 3, but kind of starts to be introduced in like after Kingdom Hearts 1. It's not a thing in Kingdom Hearts 1 really, or at least not that we're aware of. But yeah, I mean, even when you had initially asked me about it, I was like, yeah, it's going to be some type of beam attack with the Keyblade. It could be one of many things. The fact that they pull from Kingdom Hearts 1, where the basis of the game is definitely about sealing keyholes, and where that kind of loses its steam a little bit as the games go on, like, makes total sense. The animation is great. The door that has the Smash Bros. Logo on is definitely like based upon the Door to Darkness, which is featured heavily in Kingdom Hearts 1. So makes a lot of sense.
And it also, I'm sure that helps it fit into the canon of Kingdom Hearts as well. Like
I think I know where it fits into canon. I've been thinking, and I think it actually makes sense.
Oh no.
we'll put that as a post-credit scene for this video.
All right.
And I'm now requiring you to do that.
Okay.
So.
And then as for the stuff he came with, I'll talk about the stage, and then I kind of want to wrap the rest of it up as one general question. So for the stage, this did surprise me as well. And I think like it was generally seemed like it would be between one of like 2 or 3 options, but we had said Destiny Islands, which is of course like a very important location for the series, whereas they chose Hollow Bastion. And then also with like a low stock or low time, it'll go into like a dive to the heart design. Yeah. So how do you feel about not choosing Destiny Islands?
I'm a little surprised. Hollow Bastion, I don't even think would have been my second or third choice. Like, I think, Destiny Islands makes a ton of sense. I think if you're not choosing Destiny Islands, there's definitely more present places that, like, Twilight Town, I think would have made a lot of sense. And if you're just thinking of Kingdom Hearts 1, which, this is definitely based around Kingdom Hearts 1, like, literally Hollow Bastion, you can see the level. Like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I remember it's like you're literally flying around the level from Kingdom Hearts 1, which is just insane to me how detailed it is. But even Traverse Town makes a little more sense. That's more of the hub world in Kingdom Hearts 1, whereas Hollow Bastion is kind of like the ending place. You don't spend a ton of time there overall, but it is very iconic. It has, some of the most iconic scenes in the entire game. I don't have an issue with it. I was never really married to one place or the other. I think Destiny Islands just made a ton of sense for a lot of reasons, and what it represents in the entire franchise. But I love that they put Dive to the Heart on there. I was not expecting that at all. I didn't really think about that. I love it. I think it would have made a little more sense if you did Destiny Islands and Dive to the Heart, because you see them connected all the time. But honestly, I don't even care, because Dive to the Heart is sick. It's awesome. It's hilarious that Kyrie is not one of the characters.
Yeah.
It is hysterical to me. I am so shocked. Like, legitimately so shocked.
Does she shows up on somebody else's, right?
Riku's.
Okay.
And no, she might not be on. No, she's not on Riku's. She's on Sora's.
Okay.
She might. I don't think she's on Shion's either. There's a chance she's on Aqua's, because her and Aqua have a weird connection from like Birth by Sleep, which is a prequel. But I know for sure she's on Sora's. I think it's Naminé that's on Riku's. So, but yeah, no, it's very bizarre. I'm very surprised that she's not one of the people. Even given the fact that she's now a Keyblade wielder. Like, I don't know what the requirements were.
Right. Which with the stage and kind of mentioning Kyrie as well, I want to go into the last three parts of what we discussed, which all kind of goes to one big question. So for music, we got basically nothing correct, mostly because the music was pulled from like the vocal tracks or things that were licensed.
Yeah, and to be fair, like, we both knew there were going to be non-vocal tracks in there. Like, we knew there were going to be like themes and stuff, but it wasn't worth talking about, because like, you can pick any of them.
Yeah.
There's so much good music, and there's so many great ones that, like, I didn't want to bore you with me going through and be like, this is from that one battle in that one game at this one point in time. Now listen to it, so you have any clue what I'm talking. No, we focused on like the very iconic ones that you could hear on the radio.
Right. And the only thing that we got that you mentioned anyway that was even remotely in the game is Dearly Beloved by Technicality, because there's the swing version that they added, and then they
which is great.
They used the orchestral Hikari in the reveal trailer, but that was like seemingly its own license thing, as some of the rumors would imply.
I would assume that the issue with most of the big songs like Simple and Clean, Hikari, Sanctuary, Don't Think Twice, Face My Fears, is they're all like that. That's just her music. Like, she released that. So that would be the main reason that I'm assuming it's not in there, or at least probably would cost a lot more, or was a lot more difficult to obtain than just battle themes. So that makes a ton of sense to me as to why. Like, I'm not surprised. I'm glad that Hikari, which is just an orchestral version of Simple and Clean, made it into the reveal trailer, because it was fantastic.
It would have felt wrong if it didn't, for sure.
Oh yeah, but I'm not at all. In all honesty, I'm not shocked that a lot of those songs didn't make it into the actual game. And the songs that they chose are awesome. There's some really, really great ones that are just a lot of fun, so that I love.
So that kind of the licensing thing ties into my question, where, for Spirits, we did technically get all of them correct. We had said that there would be more.
I added like 1,000.
Yeah, you said there would be more than there were. And for me costumes, we played it pretty safe. The only like out there kind of thing we said was a Mickey hat. But we said, Riku, Kairi, Roxas, there was no me costumes.
No.
So that kind of leads me to the final question I have, which is, how do you feel about the very safe way that they played it with like the Kingdom Hearts franchise? And we already kind of expected that there wouldn't be any Disney stuff, but how do you feel about the overall way that like they worked with like the exceptions that they made, not including Disney stuff, the kind of avoidance of the licensed tracks, not having a ton of additional content? How do you overall feel about how Kingdom Hearts was represented in Smash without the elements like Disney and whatnot?
So I don't have an issue with it at all for the most part. Like, I'm not shocked by anything. Obviously, yeah, it would have been really cool to see Donald and Goofy show up at some point. I think they would have been easier than Mickey, theoretically. But I also think that for the most part, if Disney was going to let any of it happen, I think it was going to be a very all or nothing. Like, I don't think, with the exception of the small little Mickey Mouse charm, I highly doubt that there was ever going to be like we'll give you a little bit of Disney. Like, no, it's going to be, if you get Donald, you're probably going to be able to get Goofy. And if you're able to get those two, they're probably going to let you have Mickey Mouse, all dependent on, how they're being used. And I think the thing that always made sense was that Disney was not going to let their characters be there. And I think, in all honesty, I'm not convinced that Sakurai overly wanted those characters to show up. And that's fine. Like, again, Sora is such an amazing standalone character, and Kingdom Hearts has so much of its own lore that I don't think it took away from Sora whatsoever. People are going to point to, like, the oddly specific, like, dive to the heart thing in Sora's where there's a boat, a raft, I guess, and the pow fruit, which those are... I get it. Obviously, Donald and Goofy would have made more sense because that's what's on his actual dive to heart. But also, those make sense. They're from the very beginning. They're very specific references to the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1, which is awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked we didn't get any Mii costumes as well because it sounds like this was a very last-minute thing. It was another literal elevator pitch by Sakurai and a Disney exec to just be like, hey, let's make this happen. And it seems like there was a lot of back and forth in terms of finalizing movesets and the way that these characters are represented. And I think that's why, anyone that's upset with the way that Sora turned out is an idiot and they're wrong. No, you're stupid and you're asking for way too much because Sakurai did an incredible job of creating this character. And when you look at the spirits, the spirit battles, awesome. Like, I played through them the night he came out. Like, I had a great time because there are awesome references in every single spirit battle to the way that each of these characters are represented overall. Like Axel is Roy because he's very fire-based and Roy has the flaming sword, obviously. Roxas is awesome because he's in the white outfit, I think he's in the white outfit. And Roxas is like the first Keyblade wielder that we kind of see in the franchise, not historically, but that we see that dual wields Keyblades. And just a great thing that Sakurai did that most people didn't even notice until it after came out is when Sora is holding an item, he throws his Keyblade behind his head kind of like this, and he holds them sort of like this, which is a direct reference to the exact animation that he uses in Valor form, which is one of the outfits in Kingdom Hearts 2, which is the first time we see Sora dual-wielding Keyblades. Mm-hmm. But so Roxas starts out with another weapon, and he's able to dual-wield. Kairi has Sora come in and rescue her during her spirit battle, and it's specifically like KH1 Sora. Like, it's so well done. It's so amazing every time that I play it and every time that I see it, and I'm like, Sakurai truly understands this franchise. He understands, none of this is accidental. He's just incredible at his job, and he did such a good job of representing everything. Mm. That being said, yeah, the Disney stuff, it kind of sucks that it's not there, but it's impossible to be upset about that based on everything that we got.
Yeah, I agree. I think all of the choices that were made do make him and Kingdom Hearts coming into the game feel just very natural. Yep. I think it was all good choices. You talking about the Valor Ford made me realize I completely skipped the palette swaps.
That it made me too.
So the actual last thing, briefly, we did get a bunch of them right. We had focused on Kingdom Hearts 3, which we said would be the default. Instead, that's just one of the costumes, as well as Second Form is in there as costume as well. Strike Form Red, Element Form Blue, same thing as Valor and Wisdom, basically.
No,
well,
not the same thing.
Same concept of the color, anyway.
Sure.
They are red and blue. And then the one, we did completely get Ultimate being the white one. That all works. But we had also said Blitz Form for green, Guardian for yellow, and Rage for black. Instead, we got original Kingdom Hearts 1 look, Dream Drop Distance, and Timeless River, which is a very fun one.
So cool. Yeah, again, I when I saw Kingdom Hearts 1 Sora floating out, I was like, oh, that's really cool. I didn't expect them to use that as his base look. But the fact that he also has 4 base renders is incredible and so much more than I ever could have asked
It's
for.
super cool.
And it's like, and they pick the right ones. It sounds so simple, but they picked the right ones. They did 1, 2, and 3 and Dream Drop Distance, which it's like, yeah, obviously you have to use his main 3 renders in 1, 2, and 3, but the other big render that he really had was Dream Drop Distance, because in all the other games he kind of used one form of 1 or 2 most of the time. So incredible. And then you look at the options he got, like, I honestly think the most iconic alternate forms are Valor and Wisdom, absolutely, because in 1 he didn't change form really ever, except when he was going to different Disney worlds, and even then it's like I don't really see him being a mermaid in Smash. It'd be a little weird. Valor and Wisdom form are just iconic. You get them at the very beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2, and they're great. And low key, like, that's an awesome way to represent. I'm going to go to little meta here, but like, in Kingdom Hearts 2, like, the way that you get Valor and Wisdom form is you have to use the power of your friend to summon that form. So when you use Wisdom form, which is magic based, Donald goes away. When you use Valor form, which is attack based, Goofy goes away. It's a really cool meta way of saying, like, hey, they're here with him. They're in his heart, because that's what kind of game Kingdom Hearts is, because he's able to use these forms or whatever. Super stupid, super sappy, but I love it. Ultimate form is awesome. And yeah, man, I would have loved a Sora Rage outfit. Like, I think that was kind of a layup that for some reason isn't there. But the fact that they gave us Timeless River is just absolutely incredible and very unexpected.
Yeah.
And they gave him his own, like, the facial expressions and whatnot. So it's like practically 5 different renders. Like, stupid amazing. I love it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's 5 different spirits even.
Yeah.
So, which, I mean, yeah, they definitely kind of consider its own thing. And from a meta aspect, I really like Timeless River as, there's no Disney stuff really in here besides the keychain, but this feels like that, like, this is the Disney representation. It's like the classic animation. If you look at that
animation style, you know who it is. It's Steamboat Willie. Yeah. Like, it's Disney. Yeah, it's incredible. And of all of the places that he goes in the games when he has, like, a change of outfit, Timeless River is by far the best. Everyone knew it. I don't think many people would argue that. So incredible to see that represented. And I agree, like, the fact that it's a really cool way to represent Disney and his roots in that way.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think on the whole, obviously you're extremely happy with Sora that he got in, and the way he's represented, all of that stuff. I am also very, very happy with it. Of course, I got the consolation prize of Doomslayer being a me, which was hilarious that it's in the same presentation. But I think Sora, I think pretty much everyone can agree that Sora was just like a perfect ending, especially hearing about all the extra work that Sakurai and the team had to put into it to make sure it happened, and like revealing that he was basically the real winner of the Fighter's Ballad as well from Smash 4.
Which that's exactly what we talked about in the original moveset. He was someone that like everyone across the world loved him, and hearing that, it was just like, yeah, of course he was. Yeah. Of course he was. It makes total sense.
Yeah.
And I also love that maybe it makes people a little less angry, the fact that he didn't take anyone's spot. That spot was not there. It was Sakurai going, oh my God, we have a chance to put in Sora, but we need to do overtime for the next couple weeks. And everyone's like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that spot was not going to go to anyone else. Like, Doomslayer was not going to be a character that got replaced by Sora. Yeah. Master Chief was not a character that was going to get replaced by Sora. It was Sora or no one.
Yeah.
Smash is a celebration of gaming more than it ever has been with Smash Ultimate. I mean, you can just tell by the characters that they've gone out of their way to add, from guys like Steve and Banjo to Sephiroth, which is just insane. Kazuya. But like, I think that the Smash screen of Sora says it all, that Sora is finally here.
Yeah.
Like, he was always the most obvious addition. He was always the most wanted. And it's incredible to finally see him.
Okay. Cut to credits. Okay. Post credits. So why is this canon?
All right. So, it's very, actually, like, it's kind of easy in a certain way. You have hints, obviously, because he's based on Kingdom Hearts 1, but he is slightly older, because the render, they didn't want to go full child, but they didn't want to go like, Kingdom Hearts 2 or Kingdom Hearts 3. So they picked a render that's kind of in between, which is great. And there's also the fact that he's just a Kingdom Hearts 1, and he flies specifically using the Peter Pan magic, the Tinkerbell magic. In Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3, he flies based on an ability that he learns throughout leveling up. Where in Kingdom Hearts 1, he does it after he meets Peter Pan and Tinkerbell gives him the ability. And he always glides using the sparkles and whatnot. So he glides using the sparkles. He's in his Kingdom Hearts 1 outfit. And he comes out of that thing from being asleep. We know he's older than Kingdom Hearts 1 because of the render. Easy money. It's because at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, we go into Chain of Memories. Chain of Memories leads us through the Castle Oblivion, where he loses his memories and has to get put in a pod by Naminé. Him, Donald, and Goofy get put asleep, and they're put a pod. They're in there for like a year, where they sleep, and they have to wait for everyone else to fix all of his crap. Riku goes and retrieves his memories from Roxas and Shion and all this other crap that no one cares about. But he's asleep for that year. Now, I'm probably thinking, like, I always just assumed he was asleep. But what if? He walks out of that pod in Kingdom Hearts 2, and he's older. He looks older. He's outgrew his outfit. So, in that year-long time, that is clearly when Mario is like, shoot, things are getting bad in Smash Land because we're all trophies for some reason. You need to reawaken the undying light or whatever those lyrics are. And he sees this fire. He's like, all right, Mario is not a Keyblade wielder. Which is very interesting. It is specifically, the Keyblade presents itself to Mario in a form that he is able to handle it, which is fire, being, Fire Mario, whatever. So him being able to do that is clearly the Keyblade saying, like, hey, Sora's not doing anything right now. Clearly you guys need him, because Sora's job is to go to different worlds and help them, to seal their keyholes, to lock out the darkness, to reawaken the light. And that is literally what he's doing in that Smash trailer. Mario sees the fire, says, okay. His heart tells him what he needs to do. The Keyblade's like, yeah, because the Keyblade is like a little bit sentient in a way. It knows what's going on most of the time. And he knows that Smash needs Sora. So Sora comes out. He's still asleep in that pod when that keyhole opens. He floats out because the Kingdom Key calls to him, because the Kingdom Key's not doing much either. He's kind of with Roxas, but not really. And Sora's like, oh, I'm awake. And he, has general memories, but like he's not worried. He's like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to help the people here. And obviously seeing a familiar face in Cloud and Sephiroth has to make him feel better. But yeah, I think canon-wise, this fits in between Chain of Memories and 2 for Sora, when normally the only thing that we ever had there was Sora being asleep. It all makes sense due to the outfit, the age, and the way that he flies, because it's not post-Kingdom Hearts 2, because he would be flying due to an ability, not Peter Pan. So I think it all makes sense to me.
I mean, him coming out of the keyhole still being asleep is a great point in favor of that theory for sure.
And Nomura likes nothing more than everything being canon. So
right. I mean, yeah, that tracks. The Keyblade was like, yo, Smash got like Ridley, K. Rool, Kazuya, Sephiroth. Like they need some help in here. It's not going good.
And Cloud. I just quick side. I love in the trailer the two people that we see other than Mario like look back at Sora are Cloud and Link, along with I think one or two other people, but specifically those two. Like Link being a very similar style of hero. I think there's a sense of like he understands who Sora is without truly knowing who he is, just being like the light and like this warrior or whatever. Like there's kind of like a sense of admiration there, like a respect. And then Cloud is just like, oh heck yeah. Oh, we're going now. He's definitely like a little annoyed because they don't have their full relationship yet, but yeah, he's pumped. He's like, look, if Sephiroth can come ruin my time in Smash, I'll accept Sora. Yeah, Sora can come ruin his. So yeah. Incredible. Obviously doesn't actually exist in canon, but that is my new headcanon, is that is where he is during after the events of Chain of Memories in the Kingdom Hearts canon. So
sounds good to me. I approve. Well, it was nice having you back on. I'm glad. I mean, like I said, very happy that Sora's in. Great last choice for Smash. And I'm glad that you're liking him. If you would like to, I'm sure this will apply to exactly 0 of the people who watch my videos, but if you want to talk about your sports podcasts, you could do that.
If you play fantasy football or you like football, you can go to theundroppables.com. I have a podcast called The Undroppables Playbook. We do fantasy content. We do just general football content. We do college football content. So if for some reason you're like me and you're into both of those things, you're a nerd and you're extremely into fantasy and football, feel free to check me out. I'm on Twitter at mpduncan75. So, yeah. Thanks.
And I'll be here. More videos will be coming out later this month. December is going to be a very busy month. Going to be a bunch of Smash related videos there. So make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. See you next time.